Get 'em.
Welcome, folks. Y'all come on in and make yourself at home. This here, well, this is the Rolling Thunder Podcast. Your home for all things Rolling Thunder. This episode is brought to you by Mossy Oak, because everything is better in Bottomland. Kent Cartridge, quality matters, performance counts. Shen Gear, waterfowl gear that is built better. And Benelli USA, dominate the skies.
Alrighty, welcome to this episode of the Rolling Thunder Podcast. We were sitting in the great state of Missouri, or at least so I'm told. We're going to find out in the morning, with an old friend and a new friend. Fellas, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
How's everybody doing? I am Trent.
I'm Chris Figge.
Y'all doing all right?
Man, I'm fine as frog haircut 9 ways on Saturday.
Yeah, what he said.
Do they talk like that up here, Chris?
That's a little out of the norm, but do they talk like that in Alabama?
Trent does.
There you go.
Well, Were you born in Alabama?
I was not born in Alabama.
See, I'm the only one here that can testify.
Hey, oddly enough, you ready for this? Here's a fun fact for all the podcast listeners out here. I was born in Missouri.
Show me something.
I was born in Kansas City.
That's not Missouri. That don't count.
That's what the paper says. So I wasn't there long enough for it to matter, but that's what the paper says.
A couple of state lines on a map says it does.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they do have a good football team.
Barbecue's decent.
Yeah.
That depends on who you ask, I guess. That's a real hot topic.
It got real quiet.
And that's actually why we're here today. We're here to discuss the ins and outs of barbecue differences across the continental United States. Now, we have found ourselves here in Missouri because it is turkey season. For us there in Alabama, we're coming down to the home stretch. We got,
2.5 weeks.
Yeah, something like that.
The 8th, whatever that is.
We're rolling towards the end, so we're almost done. But it's really kicking off and getting rolling for everybody else. So Missouri opened up, by the time we're recording this past Monday. So season's still relatively fresh over here. And so Chris was kind enough to share a little intel and give us a table to come eat a sandwich on for a little while. And
extend his gracious hospitality that he's known for.
Yeah.
Hey, don't start rumors about me now.
Now listen, if Trent says it, it may or may not be true, but in this instance, so far I can verify you've been a very hospitable host so far. I don't know how much or how little you want to say about what you do or what you've been doing the past few years, so I'll leave that up to you. But why don't you go ahead and give them as much or little of an intro as you'd like to.
Yeah, I'll say it. Chris Figge lived here in the Missouri Ozarks for 22-ish years. I'm actually getting ready to retire from the National Park Service. I've been a law enforcement emergency services supervisor here in the Ozarks for a long time now. But my days are numbered, and I'm actually getting ready to retire from the Park Service.
Okay. Well, from what we've talked about outside the podcast, it seems like it's a good transition. So yeah, congratulations on the career move. It sounds like it's a great thing for you. So
pretty excited. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah. Well, I guess, for being here for so long, and it is the middle of turkey season. Now, just as a disclaimer, this is not an official representation of any particular agency or organization. We are
not biologists.
Yeah, we are not. This is purely anecdotal from your chair, and as we. If the sun was up, we could look out your back porch and look at a chunk of public ground. What have you seen of your time here in Missouri from the turkey population in this part of the world?
That's a loaded question. You talk to the old timers around here in the Ozarks, they'll be proud to say and pound their fist that we don't have birds like we used to. There's turkeys here. We have good years, we have bad years, and you got to work through it, and you got to hunt, and you got to work hard for them. I tell people when they come hunt the Ozarks, and I have a lot of friends like you guys come hunt the Ozarks, there's no gimmies here. I mean, the local people that grew up here, they're by golly, hardcore, good turkey hunters. You got to go out and you got to work for them. You're not going to just be able to sit there and hope to get lucky. This year, I've been, I'll say the word lucky. I've put my work in and I've had some success this year. I've heard a lot of birds this year. It just kind of worked out, and I think it's been one of those years that it's been nice. Last year, everybody said, I think it was last 2 years, everybody said, oh, there's no birds. Again, I didn't see that. I do think that I'll say the lack of predator control is hurting our turkey population, and I'll freely admit I used to be a quote-unquote hardcore trapper. I haven't set a trap in 11 years. As we're talking offline, I was a coon hunter. I'm not a coon hunter anymore. And I think I'm just one of many that fall in that category when it comes to the predator hunting side of the house. And that has to have an impact on our chicks. I mean, absolutely it does. My job as a park ranger, we're seeing, it seems like we have a 500-year record flood about every 5 years anymore. And it has a big impact on our hens. They nest in the valleys and the creeks and the drainages, right where those floodwaters come plowing through, and I know it hurts them. We were talking offline about the hatch I saw last year. I can't lie, I didn't see many poults running around, and I've not seen many jakes this season. So,
yeah, and you mentioned we popped in the woods for a second to see if we could hear anything for tomorrow, and I mean, you mentioned it seemed like you had a lot of solo birds early and hadn't seen a whole lot of hens, which is kind of interesting.
Right. I haven't seen many hens. Friend of mine over around Cape Girardeau was sending me some Snapchats of a lot of hens running around, but over here, I'm not seeing it. Like I mentioned the other morning, I heard some calling, and I was having a hard time trying to figure out if it was hunters or a hen. Where they were located, I think it would have been a hard time for a hunter to be there, and it was excessive calling for it to be a hunter.
Sure.
You never know what somebody will do, but it just kind of kept on and kept on and kept on.
Very aggressive hand cutting.
Yeah, it just didn't stop.
Right.
I mean, everybody takes a breath at some point.
Yeah, and she just kept going.
Non-stop.
Machine gun Kelly cutting.
Well,
Right.
I had one this past Friday, and she was in the road, and from where she was, I thought it was somebody walking in, a little bit. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. They're calling from the road. But same thing, she just did not stop.
Broody.
And so I finally started cutting back at her, which made it worse. And so I ended up yelping her up. So she came, kind of bebopped through there, popped up on a blowdown, and sat there looking around for about 45, 50 yards before she drifted off. But
she was by herself?
By herself.
Probably had a nest close by.
So that morning, 3 different single hens that morning.
So it could have been they were either coming from or going to him, and just broody. And was it where you were?
Where we were, it makes
pressured, he was pressured. He wasn't going to go.
And he didn't make it. He did not make a sound.
Yep, but she was either leaving him or going to him, and that's probably my guess is what it was.
Yeah, and that tracks. Like they're split off, either going to nest or coming from, and ready to get back together and mingle for a little while.
It was yesterday. I got a turkey I'm dealing with back home, and he lives in a pasture. And start of the season, he probably had 20 or 30 with him. It was just him by himself with 20 or 30 hens. And I've noticed throughout the course of the season, naturally as it should, hen numbers dwindle down. But yesterday about 10:30 in the morning, I was just trying to strike him just to see where he was. If he's in a place I could play with him, I was going to play with him. But if he was in the pasture, I wasn't going to. But the same thing. Hen started getting real aggressive at me, and I wasn't calling loud at all. I was just acting like a little hen walking through the woods, pecking around. And she jumped my lunchbox. She just went Machine Gun Kelly out of nowhere for no reason. But she was coming from a place that I know that turkey likes to hang out in that pasture. 10 minutes later, lone gobble just randomly where he normally is. And she was coming from there going into some thick pines. She's probably going to nest and didn't want that other hen around it, if I had to guess. But I'm seeing a lot of that back home right now. Just single hens doing their things.
Yeah, it's starting to kind of get right per se. Like it's just that time of year.
Yep, hens going to nest. If you're lucky to find one that's still alive that hadn't been boogered, to hell him back. Sorry, I paused right there, but if he's still willing to gobble and he's not dead, he's probably not going to gobble very much.
Well, and I told you that yesterday whenever we was talking on the phone about the Missouri season. I told you, I said, I'm tied up second week, but come on up here to third week. And you asked me, it's still happening? Yeah, when you can find one that's right, that third week can be fun.
10-minute turkey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm curious. With season just getting started, pressure being so gradual so far. I mean, it's been open for a few days, but we're already kind of in the green up, which for us back home, that's partway through our season. We start where it's wide open, still winter woods, and then you kind of hunt through the green. Seeing fresh turkeys while already, it's kind of greening up is going to be fun. And it's totally different ground. This terrain's totally different.
I was telling my dad on the way up here, this is the first time I ever actually hunted Missouri. And these are I don't know if you noticed it or not, coming from Alabama, these are the largest pine trees to be in a mix of hardwood timber I've ever seen in my life.
It's some big ones.
It's the most beautiful country I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So a little history lesson. I'll break into my other job here.
Absolutely.
The Missouri Ozarks, the Ozark Plateau, was a pine forest. Then when the settlers came in, they basically clear-cut it, and oak grew back. And efforts by, like, Missouri Department of Conservation, Pioneer Forest, those groups are trying to get it back to pine forests, parts of it. Actually, just north of where we're sitting here at Spring Valley, just north of by Round Spring, there's a virgin pine forest. It's on Pioneer Forest that they've got a driving tour and everything. And we don't have the pine trees like we see when you go to Alabama, but we have some nice pine forest here.
Yeah. And do you know what species of pine tree is it in this part of the world?
You think I'm a park ranger? Nah, I don't know, my man. I'm sorry.
No. And I'll be honest, you could have said anything, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." I couldn't tell you the difference. But
They ain't long leaf.
yeah, they are not.
Probably when my buddies, if they listen to this, they're going to give me a hard time for not knowing. But
Writes down does not know pine trees.
Yeah. My degree's in wildlife biology, but I can't tell you.
Loblolly? Question mark?
Yeah. Tall, brown,
Green, all
yeah.
Got it.
Green spikes.
Yeah,
Them ones.
Yeah.
there you go.
So where'd you go to school?
Southeast Missouri State.
Okay, so I went to school here in Missouri. Now, not a Missouri native, but
Nope. Grew up in Illinois, and went to Southeast Missouri State to school, and work drew me here in about 2003, and here I am. It's home now.
yeah. Been here long enough to claim it and not think anything different.
Some of the locals will still say I'm not from here.
Yeah.
Funny, recently a local gentleman had made the comment about me being from here, and a friend of mine quickly corrected him and said, no, he's not from here. He's just lived here longer than you've been alive. But,
Yeah, just we've adopted him. Yeah.
I'm just here.
Yeah. Well, you do more than just turkey hunt.
Yeah.
I pulled up here in the driveway, and there's a big sign out front. You do a little dog training on the side.
I play with some retrievers a little bit. Yeah, I like to call myself a semi-pro. I've got another job, but some people do pay me to train some dogs. I've had a lot of success over that, and it's something I do enjoy.
And you play some hunt test games. So are you you're an HRC guy?
I'm both.
Both? Okay.
I'm an HRC. If you push me in a corner, made me pick one, I'd say I'm an HRC guy. I really enjoy AKC. I like doing them both.
Yeah.
I like the difference and everything. Run both the Grand. I've never ran the Master National. AKC only run Master Test. Generally, my dogs, I'll run them. I don't run much started. I run season finished. Once they get their HRCH, I'll jump over to Master and catch that Master title and then start running the Grand.
Gotcha. And so you seem like you had a pretty full kennel earlier, but just because we're doing this, why don't you go ahead and plug, like, if folks want to find you or find your kennel, is there a place they can do that?
Facebook, Last Call Hunting Retrievers, or lastcallhuntingretrievers.com. I've got an Instagram page, but I'm not the biggest on Instagram, but it's linked to my Facebook. But,
okay.
Facebook's probably the best way to catch me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hey, if you're listening to this and have a dog or interested in playing one of the hunt test games, Chris will definitely. I'm going to speak for you, Chris. Maybe you can correct me if I say too much, but he'll definitely give you a word or two of advice, if nothing else.
Yeah, for sure. Give me a call. I'll talk to anybody. Being a part timer, my spaces are limited.
Sure.
And I do train a lot of gun dogs. I probably train more just gun dogs and not hunt test dogs than anything.
Yeah.
But you name it, we'll try it.
Yeah. Now, did you grow up? I mean, you're being from up north, like y'all duck hunted growing up.
Oh,
of course, yeah. So, tell us some of the, how'd you get your feet wet duck hunting? Tell us some of those early stories.
A lot of it I can't tell you because I don't remember.
Okay.
I was that young. I do not remember the first time I was in a duck blind. I grew up hunting Central Illinois, Calhoun Point, Horseshoe Lake State Park. Then we'd go down back in the glory days and Canada goose hunt in Southern Illinois, Olive Branch, Marion area, which everybody knows Tim Grounds, that down in those stomping grounds. And then duck hunted Mississippi River, Illinois River, all up in there. I don't remember going my first time. I grew up duck hunting in the 90s, back when duck hunting was poor. 3 duck limits, 30-day seasons, stuff like that. And if you killed 3 ducks, you did something.
Now,
Canvas waders, and it was cold.
Well, I'll say that's
it was cold.
I think that's a good point for an interjection, because there's a lot of talk now that we're talking ducks. Figured we'd talk turkey longer, but now that we're talking ducks. There's a lot of conversation right now around the state of duck hunting in all facets. If it's access, if it's habitat, if it's non-resident to resident hunting, bird populations. But we've been really fortunate for a long time with the amount of ducks that we've had, the length of season that we've had, the bag limit that we've had. Very liberal for a long time. And that has not been a guarantee, and it has not been that way forever.
No, absolutely not. I could show you a picture I've actually got on my phone of me in old school woodland camo back before it was cool. A picture of me with 3 ducks, and I mean, there's a reason that picture was taken, because it was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
I mean, we didn't have that back then.
And you were in good ground to do that too.
Yeah. Duck hunting has changed. I'm 47 years old. And I'll be honest with you, actually, what I was starting to say a little bit ago, I quit duck hunting for a long time. I'd kind of took a step away. It wasn't fun. You go out, freeze your butt off for maybe a duck, maybe you kill a woody. That was it. And I took a step back. When I went to SEMO, don't judge me, but I got to chasing those snow geese pretty hard, being a college student, and slip out of class and go chase some of them a little bit.
Big goose guy.
Then I fell back into duck hunting, and I don't know, I'm off to the races again.
Yeah.
Duck hunting's changed. It's, I don't know. I don't want to say it's. I'll say it. It's better now than it has been. We've got liberal limits. I mean, the pintail limit's increasing this year, which is great news for me. Early January, I'd like a few more pintails. But yeah, it's been dynamic.
Yeah, and it's a changing thing. Like it's not a set in concrete. We're not guaranteed it. And I mean, every year you have a conversation with somebody, and they're like, we only shot, and there's like, we only shot 20 today. We're like,
oh God,
oh man, like
buddy, you're gonna make me go down a rabbit hole. You start talking.
We're
about
not gonna go down that rabbit hole because I'll be here for 30 minutes myself.
Well, here's my deal. Yeah, and I'll say it, and I've said it on my social media platforms. Somewhere along the line, hunting became a competition, and it shouldn't be. Used to, you'd stumble into a fellow hunter in the woods, and hey, you having any luck? No. Well, go over here. I saw some birds over here. I saw some game over here. Whatever you're pursuing. And somewhere it became a competition. If you don't have that tailgate pile pick to post on whatever social media you want, you're not a hunter. And people need to go back to the roots and realize why they're hunting and what the point of it and what they're trying to get out of it is. It's more than pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Nothing makes a day better than a flopping turkey or a pile of greenheads.
It is a blood sport, no less.
Yeah, we are hunting. Like, let's not.
We're hunting, and I'm not taking that away. Yep. But you having success should not make me angry.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason it is.
Yeah. And my success is not contingent on how successful you are or your group is. Like you might have had a good day and y'all shot your,
whatever.
However, X amount of ducks, whatever. And so, but I can still have a successful day because I may have only shot one, but that group did it right. And we, it was, all the variables are right. Success was just measured in a different way, and you don't have to compare those two things side by side because it's two different things we're talking about.
There's 100 things that makes a good hunt.
Yeah,
is it that one wood duck, but that 9-month-old puppy got its first retrieve?
Yep,
that's a great day in my book.
12-year-old killed his first duck.
Yep.
Exactly.
12-year-old killed his first Jake.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's whatever you're after.
Yep.
But I should not look down upon you because you had a good hunt and you met whatever made you happy that day. But in my eyes, well, that's horrible.
Yeah.
And the competition shouldn't be happening.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a day this past year or something with some folks, and by all outside measurables, it was a good day. Like, we shot a few ducks. The ducks we shot, we did it right. And like, we were leaving, and there were some of the guys in the group. I was like, man, like they were upset with the day. Like, we should have killed more, or we didn't break. We were about to finish that one group, and the group next to us shot. And rather than the success of what we accomplished, like it was, it could have been something different. And I was like, man, we're missing it,
Yeah, it's don't miss the point.
Yeah,
don't miss what you're at. We are all out there looking for something. I don't know what it is. It might be different to me. It might be different to you. But it needs to be what makes you happy.
Sure.
Why are you out there? You and I were talking in the woods earlier when we were scouting, or later, however you want to look at it, And I mentioned to you, I said, turkey hunting, it's about the show for me. I want to see him gobbling. I want to hear him spitting. I want to see him strutting. If I forget to shoot, I forget to shoot. I want to see the show. I tricked him. I put him in front of me. That's where it's at for me. Some people, it might be something different.
Yeah.
That's what makes it the greatest game ever played.
Right.
Because, if he gobbles, that's great. But when I know he's there and he tells me in one way or another that he's there, it's the start of the chess match.
Yeah.
And I love to hear him gobble, don't get me wrong. I want him breathing fire every step to the gun barrel. I'm a realist. They're not all going to happen that way. But that's okay. That's part of the chess match. You make a move, I make a move. You make a move, I make a move. You counter, I counter. You flank, I flank. But when you get over him, you realize that you beat the best one that there was to beat. Because if you don't beat him that day, you go home. If you beat him that day, he don't go home.
Right.
And that's what I love about turkeys.
Well, and ducks are the same way, Trent. You and I have done it many times in the woods, Yeah, we can slobber one down. We can try to set the whole flock on the water.
Don't shoot the rabbits to the dogs in the hole.
Well, and you and I saw that in my woods this year.
Mm-hmm. We ain't going to talk about that. Somebody saw a widgeon come through the trees. They had to have him. We ain't going to worry about the 50 behind him. We going to get that widgeon, though. I looked over at Figge and I just said, well.
Yeah.
He said at least he killed it.
Yeah, that's true.
He sat in the gentleman's defense. The duck sat on the water. He got up. He wasn't leaving. He was just rearranging.
Yeah, he was just sliding over. He was making room for the rest of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was telling them, hey, it's good right here.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. My dog went and got it, and as soon as the gun went off, I said, "Who shot?" And nobody answered me.
Yeah. Now, did he eventually claim it?
He did. Well,
Okay.
my dog went and got it, and I'm standing there, and I had it narrowed down to a couple suspects, and I said, "Is this yours?" Yeah, I got a little excited. I said, "That's fine. You traded one for about half a dozen. Whatever you need to do, man." I'm sorry.
If it makes you happy, yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. In this case, it wasn't about if it makes you happy. Just go on and leave your gun on the tree for 30 more seconds.
Yeah. You are in timeout.
Yeah.
And I guarantee he's going to listen to this, and he's a great dude. Been a good buddy of mine for a lot of years.
You gonna call him out by name?
I ain't gonna go that far.
I'll save you right here. I'll give you another story.
I ain't gonna go that far.
Robert E. Shell, Thanksgiving week, long about 2014. 2 kids on the
Yeah, that happened.
I looked over at Daddy. I said, go get in the boat.
Trent and another buddy we was on the phone with earlier, Josh, and a couple others. We took some kids in the woods that needed their first duck, and we was working them, trying to get them in right. And Trent's daddy got a little wound up and took to shooting before we got him into 410 and 20 gauge
Robert,
range.
the kids.
Trent just said, "Daddy, you're in timeout. Go get in the boat."
There's going to be a few people that listen to this story and say, "Yep, that checks out."
The question: Did your daddy listen to you? Did he go get in the boat?
No.
Okay, that's all right.
Not even close.
That's
There was a couple 4-letter words said, and all I heard was a Browning Max's bolt slap. And I was like, okay.
I'll try. I just needed to clarify. Now, I don't know if Robert Joe's ever going to listen to this, but just in case, I just needed to be clarified that he did not listen to you.
If he, never mind. Never mind. Oh, Robert E. They don't make many like him.
Another time we was hunting. That same morning, my dog fell asleep. That's on YouTube too.
Hold on. I'm going to interject. This dog is sitting down on some kind of homemade lock-on tree stand.
No, it's an Avery stand.
No, because it had the butt seat on it. She had her head on the butt pad. She was sitting down, had her head leaning on the seat of it. And
Yeah, that does check out.
And then had a few ducks coming in. The first couple break the trees, and the rest of them's behind them. And this little chocolate princess just decides she don't want to be sitting no more and just falls in the water. Like, you know those goats that faint when you
just rolled
That's
over.
exactly what she looked like. Feet in the air. It didn't bother the ducks, but it was a funny situation.
She flopped over, and it's like she woke up, and she looked at me like, what in the world? And I'm pulling her over to where I am. And Trent calls the shot, and it all worked out.
Figge had a chocolate dog in one hand, an A5 in the other.
But that same day, your daddy wouldn't get behind a tree. And I look over, and you was throwing water at him. Daddy, move! Daddy, move!
Yeah. Oh, Robert E.
On that day, did he listen to you?
It was the same day. It was 30 minutes before he shot a mallard duck off a 7-year-old's gun barrel.
He was sitting there.
He might not have been 7. He might have been 9 or 10. I don't know, but the look on that kid's face. Picture somebody that all he wanted for Christmas was a Red Ryder BB gun.
Yeah.
He pulls a Red Ryder BB gun out of the box on Christmas Day.
He just snatched it.
And the lever broke. The first time he just looks over at his daddy like, what?
We did get the kid his duck that day, by the way.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them. That's Alabama
Cyrus
term
and Nolan.
For more than one?
for two of them. Both of them.
How you spell that?
BOUFM.
Okay.
BOUFM?
Mm-hmm. Because you got a bow. Never mind.
What was that dog you had named Fido? How do you spell that?
Never mind.
Okay.
PHYDEO. DOE. PHYDOE. Fido.
There you go.
What that dog trying to tell you? He said there's more duck on the pond than you can shake a stick at.
Oh, Lordy. Let's move on.
What we talking about
topic.
All right, so we hinted about work a little bit, and now there's some things that I'm sure I don't fully understand the statute of limitations and the legal system here in this great country of ours. So I'm sure there's a thing or two that you cannot reference or talk about, but I'm sure you do have a story or two from your time here working in the park. So why don't you hit us with one?
You know, I've been reminiscing a little bit. Lord. So you kind of put me on the spot there. You want a game related or just the wildest thing that's ever happened?
See all the above.
Yes.
I've got 3 stories, kind of the greatest hits that I've promised to another podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
So
keep those in your pocket.
I can't talk about those. I'm trying to think of some. I'm looking to audience members to throw me a bone.
Yeah, there is a live studio audience for this episode.
Miss Lisa at the kitchen table going, these
Miss Lisa is a saint. And Miss Lisa is welcome to join us on this podcast. We have another headset. You could call the bluff on all these stories here in a second.
She politely declines.
Yeah.
I
Do you have any game related ones that you can think of?
Your fan club.
What's that?
Your fan club would be a funny one to tell.
My fan club. So, I don't know that that's that good, but I'll tell it anyway. Years ago, on the Jacks Fork River, the Park Service came up with it. It was called the Deviant River Behavior Task Force, something like that. So basically, we're trying to make the atmosphere of Ozark National Scenic Riverways like it should be. Like it's a national park and it should be treated that way. And we'd kind of turned into a big Mardi Gras type party location. And so, see, I just caught Trent's attention.
Trent got so excited just then. For everyone at home.
So we were doing a lot of work, really cracking down on minor possession of alcohol and other violations. There was this group of kids. I don't remember my first contact with them, but I had dealt with them at one point. The following year, I'm on the river sitting there, and I'm watching these people, and they're doing some stuff I really need to have a chat with them about. Let's kind of wait until they floated her on down to me, and about this time I see one of them jump up and point in my direction and say, "Isn't that where we got busted last year?" So I just said, "Hey guys, I'm still here. Come on down. Let's have a talk." So the second year in a row I got them. Well, I guess they were on
In the same spot.
same exact spot. I guess they just hadn't learned their lesson, because the next year, guess what happened?
3 in a row?
3 in a row. So the year after that, I'd started doing the math, and I figured out that they was probably going to be all right. Well, here they come floating down the river playing the theme to cops, playing bad boys, calling me by name. And they were all very anxious to show me their IDs and everything else. Somehow, I guess they liked me. I don't know why. I wrote them too many tickets, but I became best of friends with some of them. They come here. They stay at my house. I go fishing with them. The one young man, he's last I knew, he was a SWAT officer, and I think he became a detective with the agency from the town they're from. I'm not going to say.
Man.
That was kind of an interesting one.
What a wild ride.
How'd you become a SWAT officer? Well, there's this fella named Figge.
Have you ever heard of the James Fork River? I can take you to a spot. Or Jack's Fork.
Yeah.
What was it Pentecost said that time? He said, "Son, sometimes they just killing trees."
He told me, he said, "You know why I got my job? I had to answer a lot of questions on my background thanks to you." And I said, "Well, I'm sorry." But nah, they're a good bunch of people, just young and wild. We've all been there.
Oh, sure.
You know?
Sure. That's funny.
What are you looking about?
No.
You just hadn't grown out of it yet.
I'm a saint.
Oh, okay.
Now see, you done opened the door. So this
For
is
the record, Chris Figge, who is the man of law enforcement he is one of my good friends. That is a reflection of my character and his. Take that for how you will.
That's why you keep me around.
You
David.
crack the door, you just pull it the rest of the way open. Now this is the point of the program where you can tell any Trent Shell story that you want.
I'll give you the green card. You can do it.
I really don't think I have one. I mean, Trent showed up at my duck camp. I still say he was. What was you? You
21.
was not 21.
I was. I promise I was.
No.
I was.
Okay.
Listen, this
That
man
was also
just told us a story.
a decade ago or more. Or more.
Yeah, that tracks. I've had the lodge. I bought the lodge in 2011. So that was probably
14, 15 when I came around.
that'd probably be tracking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You showed up. Then
You've got
next
enough
year,
bullets in the gun to end me, so just go ahead and do it.
I really don't have nothing to tell you. I'll tell a Trent Shell story. This just funny. We're hunting the woods one morning. I wake up. I'm an early bird, and I mean I'm not late for nothing. Well, growing up, my mom and dad, I asked my brother. We were late everywhere we went, so I'm scarred for life. I'm that guy that gets to the airport 4 hours early. That's just how I am. So I wake up. I'm pouring coffee. Trent's giving me hand signals, trying to figure out
what you're
story I'm
what you're gonna
telling.
tell.
And I'm pouring coffee, and Trent looks at me and goes, Mr. Chris, I don't know why you're up. You got a hole runner right here. And out the door he leaves, and he's headed down the road, and I'm going, well, that's all fine and good, but I ain't got a clue where I'm going. I do not have any idea whatsoever where I'm going.
I left him in good hands.
So anyway, we get in the boat, we take off, and we're in the boat run. About this time, this boat's coming straight at me. And what in the world is that? And then it stops. Well, here's Trent, blood running down his face. He's got one strap of his waders off. His waders, water is coming over the freeboard of his waders. He's taking on water. And I'm going, what in the world happened? He just looks at me and goes, race got intense this morning. I go, water's going in your waders, it'd be all right. And he just kind of drags his boat in, blood pouring and water going in his waders. Bless his
Cypress
heart.
limbs don't feel good. That's all I got to say.
What's that?
Cypress limbs don't feel good. That's all I have to say.
Them cold ones do not.
I'll give you my side of it. That morning, where we were, and we leave from where we left from, and
It's like the beginning of an episode of Cops, where it's like the names and likenesses of those in this episode have been changed to protect the innocent.
and it wasn't like it was now in them days. And
They were fun back then.
they're going down where we was going to, and it gets a little narrow at one spot, and I looked there to my left there, and there's a boat right there. I'm like, okay, well, this is fun. And then I look to my right, and there's another one there. But me and the left boat there, we kind of making a little bit quicker ground than the boat on the right. And like I said, it's about to get real tight up there. And you either go left or you go right. Well, if you go right, there's consequences. I met the consequences, and it just happened to be a limb to the face. Well, I looked at my running buddy there. I said, hey, anything on my face? He said, no, keep going. I said, all right. So we proceed to the destination, and Mr. Chris and my dad and a couple of others roll up at the respectable hour that a human being should get to where they're going to go hunting. Daddy looked over at me and said, he gave me that little sideways cock that he's got. He kind of scratches his chin a little bit. He said, you know you're bleeding? I said, no. He said, all right then, and just hung his gun on the tree. I was like, well, all right then. Thank you for caring about my safety. That was Robert E. though. Oh, Lord, I got some stories on that scoundrel.
Well, he's not here to defend himself. So,
I ain't going to tell it, but I will tell you this, and this is the truth. He was not the kind that said, here, little Timmy, let me carry your gun. Here, little Timmy, the deer's in the field, shoot him. Here, little Timmy, the turkey's in front of you.
now, hey, in this situation, are you little Timmy?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I was told if a turkey got where he needed to get and I couldn't kill him, that it would. He had no problem shooting one out from underneath me.
Old Josh Young.
Oh, we're dropping names now.
I said his name earlier, but I'll say it again. You know, me and him turkey hunt a lot together. You know, we got a rule. We don't call them in to watch them walk away.
That's a fact.
Here, year or two back, well, kind of back in the area y'all's going to be tomorrow. We set up, kind of funny story, we set up on some birds, and a couple turkeys come in on us, and I could see some fans, but I really couldn't see what was going on. Josh was sitting about 20 feet from me, and he come up, and boom, he just rolled one. And He jumped up. He said, man, I'm sorry. I said, no, what's wrong? I said, man, their heads went up. It's fitting to leave. It's time to go. He said, okay. I just want to make sure we good. It's time to shoot turkeys. I didn't have a shot.
Shoot the turkey.
Yeah. when you won that game.
Well, that morning, big comedy of errors. We'd had a truck drive in on us. We set up too close to a logging road. We had a truck drive in, and I don't know if they was being funny or what. For some reason, we're sitting there next to a tree, and they start honking at us, which I was real proud of that act.
Watch you.
They drive off, and Josh and I kind of stand up like, what in the world's going on? And about that time, we hear one hammer off, and we just stepped about 20 feet and set up, and a while later, he was flopping.
Speaking of flopping turkeys in this part of the world, you were telling me last week on the phone when I was talking about where I wanted to go, up the road, you said, well, why don't you come over here? Because there's something special about this piece of dirt. About how this was where they always were. This little area that we are.
You're wanting to start debates. What you want?
No. I want. No, that's not what I was trying to do at all. That's not what I was trying to do. But it's funny that this is an area in the country, in the dark ages of turkeys, that there's always been turkeys.
There's always been turkeys here. I mean, the Ozark flock's known as the flock to repopulate the country of eastern wild turkeys.
Northeastern wild turkeys.
What?
Northeastern.
Northeastern. Well,
Alabama, Mississippi still always had
species of eastern wild turkeys.
We were so broke we couldn't afford to give them out.
But around Peck Ranch and all that, there's a lot of turkeys trapped to repopulate different places. Right in this general area here in the Ozarks. But yeah, we've always had them. National Wild Turkey Federation's done a lot of work on repopulating and helping the rest of the country.
Is it not cool to hunt a place where there's always been turkeys?
It does seem cool. We're going to find out tomorrow.
I mean, they're probably going to kick my teeth in like anywhere else, but
yeah,
it's, I don't know, that's the type of stuff that I find very interesting that I enjoy, is finding a place that there's always been turkeys. There was never a discussion if they were endangered. They might have been, they might not have been. We don't know. That's not my area to discuss.
That's before any one of us at this table was around, you know.
But to find a place, like there's pockets in Alabama that there was always turkeys. There's pockets in Mississippi, there was always turkeys. Missouri, always been turkeys. 3 states that never had a closed season on turkeys. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Missouri didn't have a closed season forever. Never.
I hate to answer that because I can't accurately answer that, but not to my knowledge. I mean,
there's always been a season when other states had 0 season.
Yeah, I mean, here in the Missouri Ozarks, I mean, there's some legendary hunters. There's good
Ray Eye.
Ray Eye is a good friend of mine. I've been on Ray's podcast. There's another gentleman that's a buddy of mine, lives just south of here. I don't know if I can say his name or not. He's got his own podcast. But I mean, the Ozark turkey call makers. As I'm looking over your right shoulder, Trent, I'm looking at an Ozark fence post box call that was made by a local famous call maker. Funny story. I think it's this coming Saturday night. The Shannon County Museum in Eminence, Missouri, is having a big, I guess, demonstration of. I'll look it up for y'all.
This Saturday.
I think it is this coming Saturday because I saw it.
Say less.
It's a demonstration of some of the legendary call makers that come from this area.
So is it Uruguay?
What?
Uruguay is in Georgia, right? Never mind. That's going to get me blasphemy.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Uruguay, I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. I probably am not, but that is it's a call makers convention in Georgia.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. I mean, we've got some legends here in the Ozarks. I mean, Swinney Rayfield, Danny Searcy, which was a good friend of mine. One of my biggest regrets in life, I actually helped Danny put some food plots in one time, and he just mentioned, he said, you need to come over sometime and I'll make you a turkey call. And how do you force somebody into that? I never did, and Danny passed before I capitalized on that opportunity, But, like I said, right here, I'm looking at a call made by Doug Conway, who makes an amazing one-piece Missouri fence post turkey call. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, these guys, and as I said earlier, there's no easy ones here because these guys are some darn good hunters in this part of the world.
In places that there was always turkeys, you'll find that.
Yeah.
I mean, in southern Alabama, when you get in the river bottoms, like in Clark County, where the Alabama and the Tom Bigby meet, or you get in the Black Belt, there was always turkeys there, and that's what they did. That's what those gentlemen in those areas did. Not many of them duck hunted because there wasn't any ducks. A few of them deer hunted, but
there was a period where there was no deer.
Yeah. And if anybody's ever read the first chapter of 10th Legion, that's pretty accurate on how a lot of people deer hunted and not everybody liked it.
Yeah.
And so there was quite a few older gentlemen that I call them recluses, because they could be your barber, they could be your insurance salesman, they could be your druggist. But other than that, they wouldn't talk about anything other than they work, and they wouldn't talk about turkey hunting.
You're going to bring me right back to what we was talking about 15, 20 minutes ago. They're getting what they need to get out of that hunt. Mm-hmm. They ain't on Facebook.
No.
They ain't showing their picture. They ain't driving around town with their tailgate down. Mm. They got what they needed to get out of that hunt, and it was enough for them. Mm-hmm. And that's how it should be. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing what I do to impress you. Found out a little bit ago, you've had some success this year I hadn't even heard about. But you got what you needed to get out of that hunt. And...
Well,
maybe not.
That's a funny story, too. But remember how you said we don't let them walk off?
Yeah.
Well, he come in on Robert E's side, and I didn't let him walk off.
What'd Robert E do? Well, stop. You shoot him out from under your daddy?
Look, I got 31 years to make up. He ain't gonna live that long. I give him first chance at him. Turkey come up bad on him. He made a move too late. Turkey smelled a rat. Got a tree on him. Turkey was exiting stage right. Luckily, I was on stage right.
It's time to kill turkeys.
It's time to kill it. You shoot the turkey when you can kill the turkey.
But yeah, I'm thinking of these people. Some of the names I just mentioned, most of them have passed. You ain't hearing about that.
Mm. And
they're out enjoying themselves.
I mean, you go to Mississippi, it's the same way. There's a bunch of old cats that's what they did was they turkey hunted. Fall turkey season, they went turkey hunting. Spring turkey season, they went turkey hunting. Alabama, around the southwest side of the state, and then in the central eastern part of the state on the Georgia line, there was guys that went turkey hunting when there was a chance to go turkey hunting. Whether they killed him or not, didn't matter, but they was going to kill him on his terms. And some of them old cats, regretfully to say it, they didn't care what a bag limit was. Turkey was gobbling, and they tricked him, and they tricked them. They didn't use any shortcuts. But that's just what they did. They were turkey hunters.
Well, and Trent, you've said it before about our other sport. And when you say it and you don't think about it, people don't understand it. There's duck hunters and there's people that hunt ducks. And it's learning how to trick them, learning how to work the wind, learning where they need to be, learning what kind of calling we need to do. Do you need to shut up or do you need to lay to it? And there's a lot of knowledge out there that, now I'm going to sound old, some younger generation needs to tap into.
We're not going down that rabbit hole either. We're not going to do that.
Yeah, there's plenty of worm cans we could open up.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. But I will say this. Because I can remember learning from the truth videos.
Yep.
Whether it be the Mossy Oak videos on the Whistling Wing side or the Primo's Truth About Hunting, turkey hunting side. And then Night and Hale had, what was it? Turkey Tales? Fans of Fall? No.
I don't know.
Turkey. You had the Night and Hale guys, and then you had...
Yeah, the HS Struck guys.
Yep, and then Drury.
Yeah,
They were
Drury.
That's where I got to learn a lot from. That got me the basics anyways.
And I'll call him out right now. You know, Alex Rutledge. Alex is sitting in his house probably 15 miles from where we sit right now.
Fantastic turkey hunter.
He's
a fantastic.
Ray Ide. I mean, Ray's at home in St. Louis right now. He's very liable to be down at Devil's Backbone, not too far from here.
Easy with the names.
He posted on Facebook, so I'm going to say it. But yeah,
That's what's interesting and good about where we're at right now. Whether it be ducks, turkeys, deer, whatever. There's so much knowledge that anyone that's seeking it can go pick from. And all they have to do is go to YouTube and search it. And that's a good thing. If you think about it from the positive side and you keep a positive attitude, that's a good thing.
yeah.
Because you have someone who wants to do. We all need people in the outdoors. Absolutely, 100%. We have to have new coming hunters in every avenue. When they learn how to do it right, they won't know another way. And that's basically what it boils down to. And there's so much knowledge that someone can learn right now that wasn't there 10 years ago.
We need to learn every day, too.
Absolutely. The day you quit learning, you're done. If you're not ripening, you're rottening.
I recently heard, that's profound there, Trent.
You like it?
Nah, I recently was watching Facebook pop up or something with Eddie Salter giving some advice here last week or so. Mm-hmm. I firmly believe the advice he gave and I listened to helped me have some success this week.
What was it?
I can't remember.
But
it helped.
it mattered at the time. Yeah.
That's all that mattered.
No, I do remember. That's Eddie's story to tell.
Oh, Eddie.
So if you're interested, go hop on Facebook. You can find the video. Yeah.
No,
It's probably Southern Boys Podcast.
I'll tell you.
Southern Outdoorsman.
Eddie was talking about never call a turkey in a tree. And the other morning, I set up on.
This is a topic for conversation. Go ahead.
A real loudmouth bird. My experience with loudmouth birds that go wild in a tree is you can't kill them. And I got in where I needed to be, got set up, and he was gobbling his fool head off. I'm sitting there with that call in my mouth, just going, shut up, shut up, shut up. And I kept hearing him. And then I heard the birds land, and I counted 60 in my head before I made my first call.
Did you pour it to him?
No.
Light and easy?
Real easy. I probably made 3 calls to kill that turkey. And it would have only been 2, but I had a conundrum pop up.
Snap, crackle, pop.
And my gun went click.
Had a situation.
I had a situation.
What we have here.
It was a failure.
It's not a gun malfunction. It was not an ammo malfunction. My gun had got out of battery. And when it was time to shoot turkeys, it didn't happen. But I was able to slobber my way around and get another shot.
I'm going to go ahead and admit it because I know someone else that's going to hear this is going to think the same thing. When you said out of battery, you meant your bolt head came back.
Yeah.
You have a rotary bolt. My dumb self was thinking,
why did battery? You got
put that thing on
batteries?
charge last night?
Yeah.
No, my bolt wasn't all the way forward. I was shooting an automatic shotgun.
He said it come out of battery. I was like,
It was all out of batteries.
what'd you charge him thing?
Yeah. Well, fellas,
We're winding down.
It's about time to go to bed because
We got stuff to do in the morning.
we got stuff to do in the morning. Chris, thanks for carving out a few minutes to hop on here and
You bet.
entertain us, and more so, thank you for showing us around this evening and letting us come sit at your table. And
Anytime, guys. I thought this was going to be about a 5-minute podcast. I'm looking at the timer there.
it's been an hour.
That's an hour?
It's been an hour.
I didn't think it was there.
And
Yeah.
for anyone still listening at this point, if you've hung around through an hour of this conundrum, thank you.
Yeah.
Because we've gone down rabbit holes, and it's just been fun. That's what happens when you get a bunch of buddies around the table, isn't it?
We just, I'd like to think there's a dozen turkey camps doing the same thing, maybe without mics in their mouth right now, but just telling stories and having fun and solving the world's problems.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna be solving no problems.
One turkey camp at a time.
There you go.
Well, hey, to all our listeners out there, thanks for bearing with us. And as always, we will catch you on the next one.
Join the team that is making a real difference. Ducks Unlimited is powered by people like you. With your help, we can continue to raise funds that drive wetlands conservation across the continent. Whether you are out selling event tickets, securing donations, or finding that next sponsor, we have a role for everyone. Sign up today to join your local DU chapter at ducks.org/volunteer or attend your local DU event. Ducks Unlimited, conservation for a continent.